We're talking about increasing shoulder mobility and decreasing shoulder pain today by working on the lats. Hi, I'm Dr. Joe DeMarco, chiropractor and owner of OcraMed Health. We're back in the office today. We're talking about the largest muscle group of the upper body, the Latissimus Dorsi, or what's commonly referred to as the lats. This is a muscle that's commonly tight among weightlifters. And you know what? In order to fix this thing, we have to understand a little bit about the anatomy. So let's take a quick look. The left and right lats are the largest muscles of the upper body. Being such a large muscle, there's actually a number of anatomical variations to the lats that we won't discuss at this time. But the bulk of the lats originate off of the spinous processes of the vertebra T7 through L5, the thoracolumbar fascia, the iliac crest, the inferior 3 or 4 ribs, and the inferior angle of the scapula. Now, as the muscle comes up the back, it actually narrows significantly as it comes up and attaches onto the intertubercular groove of the humerus. It actually inserts between the teres major and the pec major. So this is a common muscle that's tight among weightlifters, and that results in two main problems. The two main problems with tight lats. First off, as you can see from the anatomy, the way the lat attaches into the humerus, a tight lat makes it difficult to get those arms overhead. So it affects movements and exercises that involve getting those arms overhead, shoulder presses, working overhead squats or snatches. It affects our abilities to get those elbows up on our front rack. All those are problems that have to do with tight lats. The other problem with tight lats is the lats are internal shoulder rotators. So tight lats add to our internal shoulder rotation. Weightlifters already have a lot of problems with internally rotated shoulders from tight pecs and other tight muscles, and having tight lats just adds to it. Also, you know, the internal rotation of the shoulders is already an issue because a lot of us are at our desk all day. We're in internal rotation all day long, and then what happens? We go into the gym and we force external rotation. We grab that heavy bar to do curls, or we hang from a bar with the shoulders externally rotated, and our body weight now is forcing that external rotation. This all results into potential injuries to the lat. When you injure the lat in that higher area where it inserts to the humerus, it results in shoulder pain. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over some fascial release techniques that I think you're really going to like on how to get some release to the lats. So let's get right to it. Okay, so we're going to start with just some light fascial release work just to get some blood flowing into the tissue. Make sure you're warmed up good even before you start this section. You know, maybe get on the treadmill for 10 minutes or come out of a hot shower. But make sure you're warmed up. Honestly, working the lats as just like doing fascial release work on other parts of the body is not a fun time. You know, it can be a little uncomfortable. It can be a little cause some discomfort. You can be sore the next day, which often happens after fascial release work. But that's okay. That's what happens sometimes when you're trying to break up and loosen up fascia and muscle tissue, okay? First off, we just want to get some blood flow in there. So I'm going to take my arm, I'm going to go just put it right behind my head in here. And I'm just going to use my knuckles, or if you can't quite reach your lat with your knuckles, you can use the tips of your fingers. And just from the lowest point you can kind of find of the lat, just kind of like up and down motion all the way into the armpit, and then all the way down that lat as far as you can reach. Like I said, if you can't reach it with the knuckles, it's okay, get on it with the fingertips. We're just trying to stimulate some blood flow in there. So just kind of dig around for about 60 seconds doing that type of motion. Might get a little red, but you're going to get some blood flow in there. Next, we're going to get in there a little deeper. Now, I want you to use a massage ball. Of course, as you know, we're going to use a Tai Chi ball from OcraMed Health because I want to get those little spiky areas of the Tai Chi ball in a little bit deeper than I'm getting my knuckles or my fingers. So I'm going to hold the ball here, get that arm back overhead, and just between my fingertips. And again, I'm going to dig that in now. It's going to get a little more uncomfortable, and I'm going to dig all the way up the lat till I get up into the armpit area here where it kind of inserts into the humerus, and then I'm going to come all the way back down. And I'm going to spend about 60 seconds or so going up and down in that manner. Now, if you feel like it's getting a little bit uncomfortable in there, you can always use a little bit of massage cream in there, nothing too oily, but just something to add to a little bit of the glide in there. And after I go up and down, I'm going to do the best I can to go back and forth like this, side to side, and I'm just going to work that all the way up into the armpit area and all the way back down, and I'll spend about 60 seconds doing that type of motion. So I'm going to spend some time just going up and down this way, and then some time spending side to side. By now, you should have a substantial amount of blood flow going through the lat area. It should already start feeling looser when you go overhead. Now we're going to do a little bit of release with the ball. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my arm like in this position as if I was about to do a press. And I'm going to show you first. I'm going to take the ball, I'll start up here, I'm going to press into the lat as deep as I can, and then I'm going to pull down. So I'm going to have my elbow like this, I'm pressing in, and I'm pulling down, and then I'm holding the ball in position, and I'm going to press overhead as hard as I can, stretch up towards the ceiling. I'm going to hold it for 1,001, 1,002, and then I'm going to bring the elbow back down. I'm going to go do that 5 times, and then I'm going to come down about 1 inch, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to press it into my lat, and then I'm going to pull down towards the floor, and again, I'm going to press overhead and try to really stretch up towards the ceiling, 1,001, 1,002, and come back down 5 times. So I'm going to hit a number of areas, starting all the way up here in the top of the lat, and I'm going to move in 1 inch increments all the way you get down. You can feel try to palpate and feel the bottom of that lat as it comes way down here. So we're going to do multiple passes where you're pressing in, pulling down, pressing up to the ceiling. Every spot that you hit, you're doing 5 presses up. Once again, between the initial stuff and doing that, check it side to side. Do the left side first before you do the right. Do this with the left arm now after you just did some of that fascial release work and compare it to the other. It's a remarkable difference just from doing that. Now we're going to move on to some really more intense fascial release work. Okay, on this next section, a little more intense work. All we're going to need is, I'm going to use a yoga block, but if you can stack up a couple thin books, make it about this height. That's all we're going to need for this, is something like about this height, but we want something firm, and we're going to put our Tai Chi ball right on top of that yoga block. And I'm going to palpate the lat, I'm going to find an upper portion of that lat, and I'm actually going to lie right down onto that Tai Chi ball on my lat. This is why you want to do the other work first, because you definitely want to make sure you got a lot of blood flow into this tissue before you're putting your body weight into that Tai Chi ball into the lat. So I've already done all those other movements. I have a lot of blood flow. It still could be quite uncomfortable, so gauge your pressure. But I'm pressing that ball. It's right into my lat right now. And what we're going to do with the arm is I'm going to press it out this way, almost as if I was standing up. I'd be pressing over my head, and as I do it, I'm going to externally rotate my arm out. So I'm going to bring it in internally and bring it in, and then I'm going to press it out and externally rotate the arm. And I'm going to go back and forth just like this, nice and slow and controlled. I'm really stretching externally, rotating the shoulder and pressing out as much as I can. I'm really stretching it as far as I can. I'm going to go 1,001, 1,002, and then I'm going to bring it back. And I'm going to do it 5 times on that spot, and then I'm going to lower the ball down, about 1 inch, and we're just going to repeat it again. I'm going to have the arm in like this. I'm going to extend it out as I externally rotate, really, really try to squeeze that out and bring it all the way back. 1,001, 1,002, and all the way back. And so I'm going to make several passes from the top part of my lat all the way down, repeating that technique. Then we're going to come back to the top of it, and this time you're going to need a belt or a strap. And we're going to do this movement. I'm going to put that ball back on a section of my lat, so I'm lying on it again. I'm going to have my elbow bent. Now what you want to do with the belt is you want to go around your elbow with it, just like that. So go around the far out as to the elbow as you can. and then hold on to it with this hand too, so it doesn't slide off your elbow. So I'm holding on to it. Then with the other hand, I'm going to take it, I'm going to go behind my head with it. And from this position, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my arm and I'm going to straighten it, and it's going to lift my elbow up off the ground. And I'm going to hold that for about 15 seconds, as much as I can, and then I'm going to let the elbow drop down to the ground. And I'm going to do that 3 times, holding it for 15 seconds each time, and really try to get as much of a stretch as you can by pulling with this arm, by pushing out with this arm. So 3 times for 15 seconds, and then once again I'm going to drop it down a little bit lower, about an inch lower on that lat. Again, I'm going to grab this behind my head. I'm going to pull, straighten out my arm. It's going to lift my other elbow off the ground. And again, I'm going to hold that 15 seconds, and I'm going to do it 3 times. So once again, we're going to go multiple spots, about 1-inch increments from the top all the way down into the lower part of the lat. So use those first techniques, get the tissue warmed up, do some fascial release work with the stuff I showed you standing up, then move on to these more intense fascial release techniques. I'm telling you, you're going to feel a big difference. All right, so give those techniques a try. You can work them every day. However, if you work it on one particular day and your lats are sore the following day, then skip a day. And that's not unusual. You might experience some soreness from working those lats with the Tai Chi ball, but you know what? Give it some time, 3-4 weeks. If you're currently, dealing with some tight lats, you have a lot of trouble getting those arms above your head on certain shoulder movements, work it for 3 or 4 weeks. I think you're going to notice a big difference. Okay. Hey, listen, when you have a chance, go to my website, www.OcraMedHealth.com. Fitness programs, mobility plans. We have our fascial release tools, such as the Tai Chi balls, are in stock. And also our Core Flex ab roller, which is unbelievable, is also in stock. Like I said, when you get some time, check it out. All right. Hey, if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel, OcraMed Health on YouTube. Questions about exercises or injuries, just leave a comment in the comment section below. I always get back to everyone who writes in. And don't forget, OcraMed Health is here to keep you fit forever.